DeMeco spoke to the media today via Zoom. It's a technologically advanced world we're living in. One of the most interesting things came at the very end. Sarge had asked about Jaylen Null's touchdown dance, in which he did the Ray Lewis dance after his touchdown. And apparently, Sarge said that Jaylen Null had just learned that at the hotel the night before. According to Cecil Shorts, who I co-host Believe in Texans with, that tracks. Given that Cecil was not impressed with the actual dancing ability of Jaylen Null on that. So give him a break, Cecil. He just learned it. This is DeMeco asked whether what he feels about Jaylen Null's dancing.
I was definitely surprised by it. I've been on the offensive guys a lot for the past couple of weeks about making sure they have some celebrations ready, right, for the end zone. Like, it's just a psychological thing to me. If you're thinking about celebrations, then you'll get in the end zone. So I'm happy that we're getting a little swag on the offensive side, and we're getting in the end zone, and we had some celebrations ready to go. But Jay Null did surprise me with the Ray Lewis.
Yeah, I don't. A bunch of you had asked if what I felt about it. Personally, I didn't think it was consistent with Jaylen Null's actual personality, and I almost wonder if Jaylen Null meant it as a tribute more so as than a taunt. I don't know. It's neither here nor there. I did think it was interesting what DeMeco had talked about with the visualization aspect of it, and DeMeco in so many ways is. He reminds me of A.J. Hinch in some ways in that he's a guy who played, but he's obviously got an appreciation for a lot of the other things like the analytics side of things. But in the case of DeMeco, he really latches onto the sports psychology of things. He's really good at reframing issues and challenges, but then also on the visualization of just visualizing the entire process, not just your playbook, but what's going to happen afterwards and everything, more normalizing it. It makes sense, especially with Jaylen Null, because back during training camp, DeMeco had said that Jaylen was a guy that he talked to about, like, hey, don't think so much. You just got to just go out and play. And sometimes this happens with conscientious rookies especially, is that they build everything up in their mind and they're thinking their way and they don't want to screw things up. Of the three skill position guys that they drafted in the first through fourth rounds, Jaylen's been the slowest to get on the field and make an impact on the offensive side of the ball. So kudos to DeMeco for his sports psychology prowess. I'm still a little bit of a grumpy old man about I don't know, before you go taunting a legend, maybe go score another few touchdowns, whatever. And then Jair Alexander trying to strip the ball from him. That's just Bush League. That's weird, man. I've never seen anybody try to strip a rookie's first touchdown ball away from him, especially at that point in the game. This is DeMeco on a defensive highlight of the game, Jaylen Petri, and how well he played with his 2 interceptions.
Jaylen's been outstanding start to the season. The growth piece is what we saw for the past 3 weeks, like him attacking the football, now having 3 interceptions on the year. I mean, that's the growth that I've seen. Not only everybody understands how active he is around the line of scrimmage and blitzing, but just the pass coverage piece and being able to take the football away. That's the piece of his game that's taken another step. I know he did that his rookie year. He had 5 his rookie year. To see him not have any last year and now to come in and have 3, and there's many more to come from him. He's playing physical. He had a really, big hit yesterday. He's playing physical. He's having fun on the field. Like, if you watch the tape and you just watch Jaylen Petri play the game, that's how I want everybody to play. Like, he's out there flying around, having fun, being where he's supposed to be, playing clean football, and doing it with a huge smile on his face.
Yeah, I think that, with Jaylen, it's been a process for him of just when he was a rookie, he was just so exuberant all the time, sometimes a little too much so, to the point where he had set a record for tackles, but also missed tackles. He's just flying in out of control all over the place, and he's had to learn his role here. But I think there's something to be said for, I think, DeMeco and Matt Burke also having to learn exactly how to use Jaylen Petri. Jaylen Petri is almost like when you get a brand new power tool and you want to use it for everything. Like, go. Oh, honey, you need your hair trimmed. This circular saw is just the ticket. It's the best circular saw you've ever seen. Let me get the right blade on it. With Jaylen, what they've done from week 1 until now, I think, is they've recognized, okay, we can't treat him like we can't use him like a Swiss Army knife for every task. There's certain times where you can't expect him to be as good as an actual cornerback when covering a slot with no safety help over the top. I think it also helped that I think the coaches already knew that. There were times where C.J. Gardner-Johnson was supposed to be that safety help over the top, and he wasn't. And that's with some of the coverage busts on the back end, you don't necessarily always see exactly where, okay, well, Jaylen was supposed to have more help. And especially if he's playing like he's got help behind him and the help isn't there, it's going to look really ugly. Likewise, in the run game, a few weeks ago is when they started doing the 5 defensive lineman sets. And when you got to really stop the run, and there's times where Jaylen Petri's not going to be the best guy to be out there trying to play linebacker. You got to bring in the heavy horses and have multiple big bodies in there so they can really they can utilize him for what he's best at. And I think that, I don't think it's any coincidence he's really started making all these plays on the ball because he can be in position. He's a veteran player now who knows exactly where he's supposed to be and play with the right leverage. So that part's been really cool to see. Because a bunch of you had asked to follow up on how the Texans counteracted the ability of the Ravens to kind of expose them with traps and wham plays before. This is DeMeco on Togiai and also Blake Fisher.
What you've seen from young guys like Tommy who steps in, and I always compliment Tommy because Tommy is a young guy who goes out and he just does it the way that we coach him to do every single time. And there's no surprise when he makes the plays that he makes in games. And they're huge plays that he makes. He played the run game really well yesterday. Also just his awareness when it's screens and trap plays. Like he's probably one of our best guys at playing those things because he's aware, instinctive, and does it the right way. Blake stepped in our jumbo package, and he handled that role very well. He handled the edge in the running game, gave us some lanes there to run the football. So he's done well with the small role that we.
Yeah, and I'll get to Blake in a minute. I wanted to touch on Togiai and then the defensive line in general. So the thing about the defensive tackles in this game, and I'm doing something a little bit different here, so apologies if I'm a little slow with it. Here we go. Okay, why is it not showing? Let's see if it gets this going. There we go. All right, Tommy Togiai right here. The problem with the Texans sometimes is that when they have their defensive linemen playing super aggressive upfield, you end up getting plays where this guard will come out and trap him as he's running upfield. You could tell that they really told the defensive linemen this week to play way more disciplined. And this play right here, like this is just a good, simple read. But Togiai plays it really well. You see his hands getting inside. When he sees his guard leave, he's got to get his hands into that offensive tackle. And he keeps his eyes. You see he looks to the right. He's just checking to be sure that it's not actually a trap play. It's called reading the triangle. And then he goes up to the running back to kind of confirm that, okay, I'm on the right path there. And then you press and squeeze. Makes it a lot easier for everybody else to converge, and Togiai ends up making the play. So if you remember the way that looked on this play, with Togiai right there, sees that guard leave, and the tackle comes down. This is how the Ravens try to screw with your head. This next play, who was the defensive tackle here? I think that's Settle. I can't tell for sure. Whoever it is does a good job. He's going to see that same look. Look, guard's leaving. You want to you might put your hands onto that tackle, but as you look as he looks to the inside, he sees that pulling guard right here come at him. So same look initially where you've got a guard pulling, but he checks his reads right and he redirects to the inside, comes underneath, and yep, that's Settle. Ends up making the play. They were much more disciplined in this regard than they were when they faced the Ravens previously. So young defensive lineman, it's called reading the triangle. You lead with your hands. Your hands are going to take you here to offensive tackle, but you got to be looking inside and seeing the guard in the backfield action. Does a really good job there. So it's just overall, a lot of you had asked, well, how do you counteract this? Basically, you tell your coach, your players for this particular game, we're not jetting upfield like this. We're not just coming hell-bent for leather no matter what. We're going to read these guys, and we're going to stop. Likewise, over here, too. That might be Togiai over here. Sometimes the Texans' defensive line would just be jetting upfield. They got that big, wide gap. We're going to go upfield no matter what. You watch him. He understands, okay, this guy's a threat. This is a wham block threat right there. I'm going to keep my eyes on him. Yep, he's coming for me. plays him, keeps that. It's just good defensive tackle play right there. So I was really pleased to see that. I thought they did a good job. It was just really disciplined play out of the defensive line, and they knew the assignment for the day. It's just we take care of Derrick Henry, Justice Hill. That's what we're worried about. Cooper Rush, we might not get as good a pass rush on Cooper Rush, but we trust that he's the least of our concerns, and that's exactly how it ended up being. This is DeMeco on. I think Cody Stutes asked him, how do you decide which running back you're going to go to from play to play or series to series, game to game?
And we continue to work both guys in. Some of it is game plan oriented, where we have particular runs for certain guys, and some of it also, Code, is just the flow of the game. Like if a guy just breaks a long run or a guy is tired, like Coach Danny Barrett does a great job of rotating those guys. We have capable guys who can run the football, so we want to make sure they're as fresh as possible. And DB does a great job of rotating those guys in and getting them in on the plays that we've designed for them.
Yeah, and the big thing there is Woody Marks continues to be more used and more involved. They gotta be mindful now of, okay, we can't have tendencies. So if every time Joe Mixon is in, we're running power type plays right up the middle and duo and all these things. Every time Woody Marks is in, we're attacking the edges. You gotta bust those tendencies in some way. I think what DeMeco said there is 100% true about a lot of positions that rotate. There's not necessarily a set plan with defensive linemen. It's like this, if you might have a plan for how many reps this guy's going to get, how many reps this guy's going to get, but this isn't like a little league football or something where everybody's got to get a certain number of reps. If you're on a 13 play drive, or if Will Anderson's out there for 13 plays, guess what? He's probably going to get a blow in a little bit, or you're going to try to work him out, or if you get into a crucial, you might say, hey, backup defensive linemen are going in this series. All of a sudden, there's a big hit, and you're down in the red zone. All right, Will, you're back out there. So there's a little bit of give and take. They're going to change things game plan by game plan, obviously. One more from DeMeco on the offensive line, and then I want to show you a play, something I hadn't realized last night that made me more impressed about the way the offensive line was run blocking. Here's DeMeco on the offensive line.
Our offensive line they've improved, I think, just overall with how we're running the football now, just eliminating the negative run plays, allowing plays to get started. Guys are getting a hat on a hat, being where they're supposed to be. And we still have things to clean up when it comes to protections and things that are happening that we have to get fixed, that we've talked about and worked multiple times, that we still have to clean up. So it's not where it needs to be right now, but we're doing a really solid job up front. Titus playing really good up front as well. So we got some guys doing some good things. Just got to continue to rein it in and play collectively much better.
Yeah, I think the one thing from yesterday where it's 100%, hey, take this dominating victory with a grain of salt, was in some of the pass protection, some of the blitz pickup. One of you had asked me, I'd seen the comment right before I came on, about the D-line overloads when you got three defensive linemen to one side, one to the other. That continues to flummox this offensive line. Frankly, it flummoxes every offensive line in the league now. It's a fun, cool, exotic thing that defenses have now made kind of a staple of playing defense in the NFL. But there's a lot to handle. There's a lot to handle for CJ too. And then the communication on all of that, we've seen that be an issue at times. You had the blitz with Woody Marks where he had either he was either supposed to get out on the screen, or he was supposed to be blocking inside, whatever that was. Some of these things they really got to clean up. Hopefully they figure something out during the bye week. But this play, this is a Nick Chubb, and I showed this last night, but the Nick Chubb touchdown, which I really thoroughly enjoyed for multiple reasons, partly because I think Nick Chubb versus the blitz, breaks a run, and then gets out in the open field. And look, I don't care if they're backups or not. He's outrunning two defensive backs there. That's always good. But this is the thing that if you watch, for one, you've got Blake Fisher right up there, extra offensive tackle. I mean, the first couple games when they had so many tight ends they're missing, and they're still trying to roll out there with tight ends that they just picked up off the street. When you're trying to run the ball, God, throw 6 offensive linemen in there, and they've been way more willing to do that in the last few weeks. So if you watch, what I really didn't notice last night was this is going to be like kind of a version of a duo play. Duo always just means you're going to have a double team on this defensive tackle, a double team on this defensive tackle. And if you remember early in the game, Nick Chubb had a really good run where this defensive tackle here slanted across Jake Andrews' face and almost tackled Nick Chubb in the backfield, but Chubb ended up actually making a good play of it. But watch what this defensive tackle does again here, and watch how the center handles him. So the center's firing out, thinking, okay, I'm going to double team this guy. And he does, but defensive tackle crosses his face, and Andrews picks him up this time. Meanwhile, you've got really good movement on this double team. You got Xavier Hutchinson getting his hat right into the gap here. Hat on a hat, gets the right leverage. And then you got Blake Fisher over here working in tandem with his offensive line mate, Christian Kirk. So the 7th offensive lineman on this is Christian Kirk. And so even though you get that movement from the defensive tackle, and then the other thing that happens on a duo play is with this double team and whatever would have been a double team here, Nick Chubb's going to read this backer up here. So there's almost like a little zone read element to duo, which is a new play, by the way, for all you olds. It's come into vogue in the NFL in the last decade or so. I had to learn it myself. So he makes the right read, bounces it. Christian Kirk just sacrifices his body for the cause up here and gets enough of that safety or backer, and then it's Chubb off to the races. So some of these things, like I liked this because it was an adjustment within the game. Andrews had gotten beat bad on this same look early on, and not to mention it's a blitz coming too, and everybody gets picked up. So it's tough too for Scruggs. Scruggs doing the same thing. These guys are thinking, okay, we're going to come down and hammer this defensive tackle. Scruggs adjusts right off the fly, picks up the blitzer. Like this is you can beat the blitz by screens and passing and hot routes, or you can also beat it this way. So it's a tool in their bag that they didn't necessarily have before. Let's see, one more from DeMeco before we go. What should we do? Let's do all right, no, we'll do both of these quick. Hey, DeMeco, what's going on with Christian Harris?
Yeah, for our inactives, it'll be different guys are inactive every week, as you guys see. It's just kind of flow for how that week is going and what we see is best for us to win the game that particular week. So it'll change every given week. So nothing against Christian.
Yeah, nothing against Christian. I think Christian, it's been kind of a rotating tryout at linebacker. And, frankly, I think EJ Speed has just stepped up and made more plays. And, Henry To'oTo'o, who 2 years ago, there's no way I would have said To'oTo'o looks like the faster guy out on the field than Christian Harris. To'oTo'o looks faster. I know missed tackles have been an issue, but Christian just doesn't look like himself. And this is coming after last year where he missed all of training camp, didn't play until late in the season. Then they pulled him again. He only played 8 snaps in the playoffs. I saw somebody say that Christian Harris was our best linebacker in the playoffs last year. No, that was 2 years ago before this mysterious calf injury. So there's just whatever that thing is, and we're deep, way past the Kyle Tucker phase of finding out about an injury. It's just a mysterious calf injury. DeMeco on Jimmy Ward, who I had to check my brain on this. He's off the commissioner's exempt list, but still on the PUP coming off of his injury.
Yeah, Jimmy he's doing well with his rehab. He's progressing really well. Now he's able to focus on strictly rehabbing. So I'm happy for Jimmy and situation getting resolved. Unfortunately, it took a long time for it to happen, but I'm happy that everything came out in a positive manner for Jimmy.
Yeah, so now Jimmy's 35 years old. He's missed chunks of time every season for the last few years, and I think you can't underestimate like how much his veteran savvy can help this defense, especially with Kalen. Kalen Bullock's still young. Kalen Bullock's young, playing a position that really requires a lot of veteran savvy to be awesome at it. And I think having Jimmy Ward even on the sideline or in practice or out there on the field with him at times would be really good. MJ Stewart came up and made a couple really nice plays against the run yesterday as well. But honestly, my biggest takeaway as I continue to work through the All-22 is that I was really, really impressed with the defensive line tamping down their over-aggressive tendencies. A lot of times this defense is all about, the old school playing the run on the way to the quarterback. You can't do that all the time. There's a time where you got to put a muzzle on those guys a little bit and have them play just gap sound, conventional gap control football. And they did a great job of that. I do think that they let Tim Settle sometimes still be a little bit of a wild card. It looks like there's times where they tell Tim Settle, hey, listen, you hit it upfield. We'll let Togiai and Mario Edwards and everybody else fill in the spaces behind you. But it's a great philosophy, but it's sometimes hard to execute. And I thought they did it really well yesterday. So please like, subscribe. I'm sorry I can't get to more comments. I apologize for that. My time is running scarce today.